Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, December 27th. So if you have made it this far into the year, you should be patting yourself on the back. If you've made it through the last 2 years, you should be patting yourself on the back. Anyway, this is going to be one of those videos where I'm going to cover a lot of stuff. If you hate these videos, then click off now. But we're going to start here. So I was dog sitting Friday, Saturday, Sunday for a friend of mine. She house sits a lot for this family, works for them, and they decided at the last minute they wanted to leave town for Christmas. She was going down to Florida to see a friend of hers who's also a flight attendant. So she was in Florida. The people I was house sitting for was in, I think, Wisconsin or Minnesota, someplace up north. And her and I were talking yesterday, and she goes, "Has Jim sent you a message yet? Are they able to make it home because they've had so many flights canceled?" If you remember last week, I had made a comment that wouldn't that be a good wake-up call for a bunch of people if everybody took off for Christmas and then they did a lockdown or whatever. Well, they didn't do a lockdown, but they had a lot of people that called off from work, I guess, because my Timmy's friend, who's the flight attendant, he said that he had 2 flights cancel because they didn't have a captain. She probably told me the reason why they didn't have one. I don't remember. I don't know if it's because they were sick or if they refused to get the V. I can't remember the reason for it, but if you watched any of the news, there were lots and lots of flights canceled. The good news is the people I was house sitting for, they made it in on time. I didn't have to stay an extra night or anything like that. But Timmy was making plan B for getting home because she wasn't sure if her flight was going to be canceled or not. So post-traumatic stress syndrome happens in many ways. Oh my God, my nose itches like crazy all of a sudden. I must be onto something. Post-traumatic stress syndrome happens in lots of ways. What better way to have people not want to travel anymore than to have everything so miserable at the airports that they just choose not to fly to see friends or family or trips or anything like that. Good job, Deep State. That's a good way to freak a lot of people out. I'm like, I had post-traumatic stress syndrome before all this started. I hate airports. No, it's not the airports. It's the plane itself. I cannot stand being in those seats and sitting like this the whole time. It's miserable for me. Anyway, so the house that I stayed in honestly felt a little bit like Santa Claus threw up in it because there were Santa Clauses everywhere and Christmas this and Christmas that. And I mean, it was like consumerism at its best. And I just was like, ugh, I mean, like, I literally, it felt like a Hallmark movie with all the Christmas decorations and everything there. So they also have their V's, they're good little soldiers. They've got their V's. And these are the people like this that are not waking up because they do have the life they want. They've got the nice house, they've got the money in the bank, they've got the Christmas decorations all over the place, they have their perfect little Catholic family, and if they were to wake up what was really going on in the world, their whole perfect little world would be stripped down to nothing. Like the rest of us who have gone through our spiritual awakenings have been stripped down to nothing in the middle of 2 worlds. We've got that world over there where that family is at, and then we've got the world over here where the people that are watching this are going. I don't know where I'm going with this anyway. It was just kind of it was just a realization over the weekend of how difficult it will be for these people when everything comes tumbling down. Because whether it happened before the end of this year or whether it happens in the middle of next year, I do believe it will all be happening eventually. I mean, there's just no way that it cannot. So Phil Godlewski did a live last night, and I was watching it. It is on Rumble now. You can watch it on Rumble today. I can't remember what the name of it was, but he was talking about Mr. T supporting the V's and how a lot of people were upset about that. And so he did it was like a slideshow presentation, and he did a lot of statistics about this, that, and the other. It was interesting to watch. I mean, I've kind of seen a lot of that stuff, but where do I want to go with this? It's interesting to watch. The point is, if you've made it this far, we are lucky, because the plan was to have the majority of us gone. Out of here, kaput. So for those who wanted HC to win in 2016, I remember two friends of mine who posted the day of the election, and this was what the post said: "Sitting here with my champagne, waiting for the first woman president to be elected." And that didn't happen. Thank God. We know now that if that had happened, we'd all been fucked. So anyway, the next day, those people that voted for that person were literally like crying because of who actually won. Well, let me tell you, friends, if she had have actually won, you wouldn't be crying now. You'd be dead, or on your way to being dead, because that was the plan. That's a lot of what the Phil thing was talking about, was the agenda 2020 and 2030, and kind of like the plans that were being put in place to get rid of many of us humans down here, because we were just in the way. And we were sucking up money that, the elites thought belonged to them. Anyhow, again, sorry, this is a little rambly. There's been a lot that's kind of been on my mind. Oh, I wanted to talk about this. So basically, people were bringing in crap food over the holidays, and I kind of binged over the weekend with all the crappy food, and I was like, I'm going to get this out of my system. It's always a good time to reset for the beginning of the year. And I started watching some different videos to kind of get myself back into eating healthier, motivation type things. The one thing that I realized is on normal days, I do fairly well. So I quit beating myself up. I went off the rails a little bit, but I found a couple of good channels that I want to point out. So if you are in that place of where you kind of ate kind of bad over the holidays, and you want to kind of get your mindset back in place to getting back on track and eating healthier, one of the ones that I found, which I found very interesting, and this is the one I want to give kudos to, it's called Respiratory Therapy Zone. I think Respiratory Therapy Zone, which totally was a surprise. It came up when I was looking for, I'm like a different superfoods or something. And the focus of it is on respiratory, chest infections, but a lot of it is medical stuff, but a lot of it is also like herbs and spices and holistic ways to help with chest infections. And I just was like really happy to see that, because it seems like maybe respiratory therapy students are putting it on. It was kind of hard to figure out who was behind it, because it's kind of a cartoony type thing, but they had many, many good points. And some of those views of how to get rid of a chest infection had like 1 million+ views. So there were a lot of people watching that, because that is one of the things that has been going around since COVID hit. That's where it attacked the most, was in the chest and the lung area. Even on Thanksgiving, when I ended up getting sick, that was like where I couldn't breathe very good. So I was using my essential oils and everything. And they had some really good recommendations. So whoever put that on I would say maybe some normies went, because it's a mixture of between like medical community and a mixture of holistic. So it would bring all kinds of people in there. And I just want to say it is a brilliant idea, because that's a good way to lead some of the normal people that, you know, might run to the doctor to maybe try something, you know, plant-based, holistic things that would help physically heal them from something instead of running to the doctors. So I wanted to point that out and just say good job on that. And then another one called Bestie, Bestie. And again, a lot of good holistic advice on foods and things that help with cancer, you know, all kinds of things that just help the body. So if you are like me and maybe went off the rails for the holidays and you need to kind of get your mind back in to on straight or whatever, clear the sugar out and kind of eat better. These were very motivational for me because you know, it's just a way to like, oh, I already do that most of the time. So I am making a list right now of the things that I am intentionally going to add into my diet. You know, I already eat avocados in the morning, and I want to add more turmeric into my life, and, you know, some fresh ginger and different things that help heal the body as, you know, food as medicine. So anyway, I think that's it for today. I'm going to eat my avocado for breakfast, and I hope everybody is doing well. We're almost to the end of the year. I feel like 2022 is going to be better. I am a master number 22. I don't really know what that means other than I am a teacher. And so I've been thinking about next year is like a 22 years. So maybe that means I'm really going to thrive and survive in 2022. I need to get the sugar cleared out of my head so I can kind of get back in gear with you guys. So anyway, I hope you're doing all well. I'm sure I'll be talking to you before the end of the year. And I personally am glad Christmas is over. I'm ready for like some normal to get back in place. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.